This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates.
Swamp Thing on the DC streaming service has been cancelled.
That was quick.
Yeah, one episode in, they went, you know what? Nah, we're not
And there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of mysterious reasons.
It's taxation. It's streaming services.
It's a real murky situation, like
Very
a
good.
swamp.
Like a swamp thing. Yeah.
Like a gas leak.
That's right. It's still unfolding at the time of recording.
Like a
this
swamp.
thing.
Like a piece of origami that you got bored with, you unfolded it, and you're like, I fold it back
But you can't.
to a different thing.
But you can't.
No,
because
that's
you've
true,
got too
you
many
can't.
weird creases in it.
Yeah, too many
you can't
creases,
do it.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So look, let's talk a little bit about this TV series.
Let's do it.
Specifically the first few. And if people could leave a like on this video, this really helps. We'd really appreciate it. Please do. We've been trialing it and it works good. Good golly, it does.
Good golly, Miss Molly, you know it works like the Dickens.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
This works very well as a TV series.
It does, doesn't
I
it?
feel.
Yeah. It's intriguing, and that's what you want out of a Swamp Thing.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about another thing later that there's no intrigue. It tells a very similar tale, and it's just like, ugh. But yeah, from the opening of this, I know a little bit about Swamp Thing. I've read a bit of it. I've read some Alan Moore stuff. I've read some more recent stuff and his interactions with Animal Man and whatever. Mm-hmm. You've mentioned this before. He's a barely works character. Right?
Look, I mean, any character can work.
Yeah.
But I feel like he is, from the outside, I would assume that a character who is a horrific monster from the swamp wouldn't play well necessarily with mainstream audiences.
Sure.
Kind of thing. People want a good looking hero. They don't want a disgusting slimy monster, do they?
You thought like a warrior was about that he'd just have abs and
for sure.
He could just transform back and forth at will and whatever.
the one of the issues apparently maybe with this series and why it was cancelled is because executives wanted a more CW kind of character, like an Arrow or a Flash or a Supergirl, where it's just like they have to shoehorn in a very handsome man with abs into the episode, and then maybe the last 5 minutes he turns into the Swamp Thing every episode, you know?
Absolutely. And the thing is, the lead character from this, Alec Holland, before he becomes Swamp Thing, spoiler alert, you should watch this though, I think. Yeah. He's not like CW handsome. He's not ripped. He's not
He's not handsome.
No, I know, but he's not blonde. Like, he's like regular guy handsome.
Sure,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like us. Just a couple of handsome regular guys.
Just like us.
Mm-hmm, correct. I've found your limit there. You're like, he's not super handsome. I'm like, yeah, he's like us. And you're like, no, he's a bit more handsome than that.
You know what surprised me about this as well? The pilot episode was directed by Len Wiseman, who you may know from the Total Recall reboot.
And from the wait, I can get this.
Here we go.
He's from the movies with the vampires and the werewolves, Underworld.
Some of them.
Yeah,
that's right.
The good ones?
Yeah, I think...
That was a trap. There are no good ones. You fell right into it.
Yeah.
Like a swamp.
Thing.
Like you falling into a swamp.
Like me falling into a swamp.
Correct.
Yeah, of course, like his directorial style outside of a weird blue tint is like unrecognizable to me. But I think he does a really good job in this pilot episode. I think this pilot's
great, yeah.
So yeah, I like the new Alec Holland. I like Abby Arcane, who comes to the swamp to see what's going on with the swamp. They hinted at interesting backstory. They tell you a lot about it early on, so there's not just like a mystery for many episodes. Like they give you enough threads. There's a moment where she's telling a story and then something finishes on the computer about her backstory, and instead of just going to like, oh, no, I'll tell you the story later, she like finishes the story.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, just tell the story. And then she turns back and she's like, oh yeah, I killed someone.
I think maybe this is probably the strength of this series, is that it is a show with horrific goings on and supernatural things and science gone awry.
Yeah.
But it's surrounding normal people.
Yes.
Who might have a normal conversation and who won't leave things hanging and
Absolutely.
just be like...
Because you wouldn't. You'd be like, hang on.
Yeah.
What? I mean, there's some things in this that are kind of like a bit silly because it is about a swamp thing. First of all, before I get to that though, the body horror...
No, you kind of did because you said Swamp Thing.
That's
the silliest
You're
element
right.
of this.
The body horror though is incredible. There's a moment in a morgue where a guy like splits apart and all the swamp's like climbing out of him. And,
a dead guy specifically, not the morgue attendant.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And it looks amazing and it's spooky and creepy. There's a bit later where they go back into the swamp and there's like a boat in the tree and she's like, how is that even possible? You're in the lab. You saw that dude split apart and all the swamp came out of him, but it's neither here nor there. But the moment where Alec Holland is born, he becomes Swamp Thing.
Oh, yes.
He's trying to figure out what he is and he's tearing out chunks of his own head and that, and it's just...
But haven't we all done that after a big night out? You know what I mean?
Mate, you ain't bloody wrong.
Who even am I at this point? What's this growth on my head? Oh, it's just a leftover kebab. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also Swamp Thing's he's an anti-hero because he's like a massive murderer.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he'll tear you in half. There's a moment in episode 2 where he just pulls the limbs off a guy completely using the swamp. I think they've done a really good job of...
I mean, it's more manslaughter then, isn't it?
No.
It's more...
He's controlling the swamp. He knows what he's doing.
Okay.
He controls the green, if you remember the comics.
That's right, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, he's not a great bloke. And
I'm sure we've all commanded the green after a bloody big night out.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you get it.
Yeah.
You get it. Yeah.
Kebab in the hair.
Kebab in the hair. Exactly. Yeah. That's right.
But yeah, look, the future of this is not looking good. It was supposed to be 13, and while they were filming, they went, 10. We'll do 10.
Okay,
They probably
right.
went way over budget for what the streaming service was currently doing numbers-wise or whatever, so it may just disappear. And I'm sure a lot of the budget went into the terrific-looking Swamp Thing suit. The mossicity on it. It's
very
so good.
Yeah.
The detail, that finer detail on a suit like that, it's kind of, you don't see stuff like that on television. You don't even see it in movies.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Movies from 1982.
Oh, is that your segue?
It's fine. We'll come back to it.
Well, I was going to say, like, the what I like about this current crop of DC sort of, Titans, Doom Patrol, etc., is it's kind of a premium television.
Yeah.
It's not... I was going to say it's not Monster of the Week. I mean, Swamp Thing himself is the Monster of the Week. He's the monster of every week, but it's not, villain shows up and then they fight for a bit and then it's the end. It's kind of like there's an ongoing narrative throughout many episodes. It's an epic kind of tale over an entire season, which is sort of the antithesis of a lot of comic book superhero kind of TV shows, and I'm enjoying that a lot.
Yeah.
And I would like to see these be way more successful so we get more of them.
We're definitely going to get Now and Again at the end. I refer to that because that's the only series that I knew was cancelled and I watched through, the TV series Now and Again.
Yeah, right.
John Goodman gets put into the body of a...
We all know the
guy.
plot of Now and Again.
No, people do not know the plot of Now and Again. Do not presume that.
Write in if you know the plot of Now and Again.
That aired in Australia after...
Oh, it had already been cancelled.
Yeah, it had already been cancelled, but anyway, regardless.
Is this video going to segue into your sadness over the cancellation of Now and Again?
No, they should have cancelled it. It wasn't a great show.
But
it was one of those proto superhero shows because we didn't really have anything else in '99 or whatever when it came out.
For sure.
Anyway, the movie is terrible. The movie from 1982. Look, it's a hard segue. Immediately, I should have watched the movie first because watching 2 episodes of the TV series leading into this, good Lord, it is brutal. And they tell the same narrative about a man who he falls into a swamp and he gets swamp powers and whatever.
I mean, strictly speaking, this man doesn't fall into a swamp. He has a glowing green beaker of something, and he gets pushed over and he drops it and he explodes, and then later he emerges as Swamp Thing.
I have never seen a man more on fire in anything, though.
Full
credit. That dude is like 1,000% on fire.
He absolutely is, yeah.
That's really good. That was the 80s, man.
That man being Ray Wise.
Yes.
Who people probably know, he's a kind of a character.
Reaper?
He's the devil in Reaper. He's kind of a famous, that guy. Like
he's famously tan.
Yeah, he's Leon Nash in RoboCop. He's in Twin Peaks. If you don't know him from any of his work, you probably know him as a guy who seemingly gets more handsome as he gets older.
Absolutely.
I think at some point he might reach peak handsome and collapse in on himself. But I didn't know, he's a character actor, but I didn't know that he I guess he took a shot at being kind of a genre film leading man because he's in this. He's Alec Holland.
He doesn't pull on the Swamp Thing suit, which appears to be made from rubber gloves, maybe.
No, that's a different guy.
Yeah.
Who was this movie is quite serious in tone. There's a sequel, I believe, that came out a few years later,
and then 89. Series,
that's a different guy, but the series went for 70 episodes.
Yeah.
Where did it go? First of all, how did they get to 70 episodes? Why have we never seen it? Because it's terrible?
Do you
Probably.
watch it?
No, I don't. I watched this movie and it was enough. This is a Wes Craven movie.
Somehow, yeah. And it's not like Wes Craven before he'd done anything interesting.
Yeah. This was apparently his CV to show movie production houses that he could be an action movie guy.
This is the CV that you'd put in the bin. You wouldn't even look at it. Because the opening shot, it's panning over a swamp.
Wes Craven, R.I.P.
Yeah, oh yeah. He's done good work.
I agree.
But this is not good.
No, this looks like a not very good fan film.
Yes, absolutely.
Made in the 90s.
Yeah, agreed.
So not even of now.
Because even the opening of the film,
it's made of $2.5 million. Shows.
Yeah, it's a weird white text at the bottom of the film that looks like it was maybe put in at the very last minute. Maybe. Yeah. And I thought, is this some kind of weird version that I have? But I think it's just the general version.
There's 2 versions. Did you know that?
Yeah, I do. And we'll get to that. And there's a jump cut.
Yeah.
When they're just looking at the swamp, they're just panning over the swamp, and there's a short little jump cut. But it's to the same shot. So it's like, did you not film enough continuous footage of the swamp?
Yeah,
you couldn't have done a fade. But no, it's all jump cuts or weird wipes.
I was going to say.
Weird transitions. Like, I think it might be, it's supposed to be a comic book thing. At one point, there's like a curtain that goes up and down.
Yeah.
There's an explosion or a star.
There's
terrible.
I don't know. I think maybe this was like the era when they're like, we can do all these, so we should to prove how versatile we are. There's a lot of like just wide shots of people like running through marshland in real time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like sploosh, 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 sploosh. And then like the bad guys run after him like sploosh, 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 sploosh.
Well, that's
It's
all it
incredible.
is. It's people running around a swamp, being
Yep.
captured and then escaping, and then
Yeah.
fan boating around a swamp and being
Yeah.
captured and escaping.
There's some great individual moments, I feel, in this.
There's a bit where Swamp Thing flips a boat.
Yep.
That's not bad,
Oh
I
yeah,
guess.
there's a bit where there's actually a not bad action sequence. You're right, when the guys in the boat sort of attempt to kill Swamp Thing and they sort of hit him with the side of the boat and they flip in the air.
Yeah.
That's actually not bad. There's a bit where
Two boats slowly collide and then inexplicably explode.
Yep. There's a bit where Swamp Thing comes out and I think he rips the roof off a Jeep, I think maybe? Or is it a boat?
I don't know.
But then
I don't know what you're talking
but
about.
then it looks like it gets taken by the wind and it's sort of.
Oh, no, I
sort
do
of-
remember
is
that.
Is it a boat? It's a boat or a jeep.
It's a
Doesn't
vehicle.
matter. It's a vehicle. And it just sort of floats away. And I'm like, was that on a cable? Or was that just a
happy coincidence?
Was that just a moment and they're like, oh my, that's gonna hit somebody. Look out! There's a moment. So we got Alec Holland. We got his sidekick of sorts is Alice Cable, as played
Yep.
by Adrienne Barbeau.
By the way, her introduction with her action sequence is incredible. She takes out a bunch of army dudes.
Yeah.
She's grabbing guns. And then for the rest of the movie, she's just screaming and running around
You know what
the
it
swamp.
is? What it is because she does that. She machine guns a bunch of
She
dudes.
goes Ripley in like a
Yeah,
second.
immediately.
And then forgets.
Yeah, she even has her look is Ripley combined with Weird Al Yankovic. From the back, initially I saw her and she was all like big curly hair and Hawaiian shirts, and I'm like, is Weird Al Yankovic in this movie? This is going to be incredible. But what I think does it, and there's a bit which you can't really do in movies anymore. She machine guns a bunch of dudes, and then they grab her, and then they need access to like the secret lab kind
Yeah.
of thing, and she won't give it to him obviously. So one of the army dudes just gives her a straight up karate chop to the shoulder and knocks her down like a sack of
incredible.
potatoes. It
Incredible.
was so good.
The first punch thrown in this movie is that scientist being chased through the swamp, and it's just the saddest thing I've ever seen.
Yep.
And then the dude's like, just has a snake on him. He's a snake in his pocket
Yeah, right.
that he pulls
He's gonna
out.
knife the dude, and then he's like, "No, the knife's not going to be enough. I better snake this dude." Actually,
He must have a pouch for a snake, right? Like, so the snake won't bite him, like a Kevlar
it kind
pouch.
of looked like he just came out of his pants.
It did look a lot like that, didn't it?
Yeah. Mhm.
Also, there's a Mission Impossible mask. One of the
I
head
was gonna
scientists,
say.
one of the head scientists just goes, "You know, I'm not who you think I am." Takes off his mask, and he's just some other guy.
That's my favorite.
I'm like,
Yeah.
who are either of these two guys?
Because the initial guy, it's like a guy we've seen in maybe 2 scenes. We learned nothing about him, and then he's like, surprise, I'm the villain. He pulls his mask off, and then he needs to be like, yeah, I'm the bad guy that people were talking about earlier, but never seen. That's Louis Jourdan.
Great.
Who was he's been in he was in a Hitchcock movie.
Yep.
He's been a Dracula, I believe.
Oh, good. Excellent. Yep.
And he was also in Octopussy. So that's a wide-ranging kind
That
of...
really is. That's quite a career.
That's quite a career, yeah. And of course he was in Swamp Thing.
Of course.
Yeah.
At 40 minutes and 30 seconds, there's a dummy throw. I wrote that
Yes.
down. I think that's
Yes.
important.
Very good.
Did you think the boat flip was the truck flip of its day? You know, the big comic book trope of like the early 2000s to like 2009.
Was somebody would punch the front of a car and it would flip over their head. Yeah,
that
maybe
what
it was. Yeah.
Like a corkscrew boat situation.
Yeah.
They did it in one of the Bond movies as well, didn't they? A corkscrew? I mean, it wasn't a boat.
It's true.
But they did corkscrew a boat. It doesn't matter. It's been a Brosnan one. It's not important. They capture the Swamp Thing. They just throw a net on him. And I know he's got
Yeah.
like one arm or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But they just pin him down and they've got
I think,
him.
can we go back one? We need to talk about the Swamp Thing costume.
Well,
because
I
we
want to
talked
jump
about how-
forward to how a man turns into a goblin. No, let's go back.
I was gonna say, you know, we spoke about how the incredible mossosity of the modern day, the TV version.
Incredible.
This one looks okay when it's wet, and you can maybe only see like his head
From a distance.
and it's dark.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it's just a dude in a rubber suit.
Yeah.
And it's so rubbery, you can see the seams.
It looks like
You can
it's made
see
for
his
rubber
real
gloves,
you can
yeah.
see his real body moving underneath it.
And look, I know it's low budget in the 80s, but good. But just put some more moss on it.
Exactly.
Get a whole bunch of moss men from the He-Man action figure line.
Yeah, put them on a cheese grater, grate the moss off.
Use that,
and then stick it on with some crazy glue. Exactly.
So when Swamp Thing's captured, they realize that the formula that he's made, they want to find out what it does, so they give it to one of the henchmen.
I mean, it explodes, firstly.
Firstly, it explodes, but you can drink it
Yeah.
also. But
that is, I feel also that is a very like we need him to transform and everybody thinks he's dead.
Yeah.
How do we do that if he's just drinking the formula? Let's just say it explodes as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The first guy who takes it turns into a little goblin.
Yes, he
does. And they're like,
does.
well, it turns you into the person that you are deep down.
Mm-hmm.
So best case scenario, you're a horrible swamp monster.
Yeah.
And then the villain thinks, yeah, I'll take this and see what happens to me.
I'll risk this.
And he turns into a weird pig werewolf man. Why would you chance that? You're the villain in the movie. What are you doing?
Because you become a weird wolf pig man?
But
that's pretty sick, you must admit.
no, it's not. Surely, like you live a life being a rich, successful businessman. You like the finer things in life with your fancy cutlery and your cognacs.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And now you're a weird pig werewolf man running through the swamp with a sword. Think about your actions.
One of the worst costumes I've ever seen in a movie. Ever.
Yeah.
This looks like the show that Matthew Holness created for Garth Marenghi's Dark. Sorry, I'll start again. This looks like the show that Garth Marenghi created in Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. Yeah.
If you haven't seen that show, you should watch it. There's only like 6, but it's incredible.
It's intended to be this deliberately. It's an incredibly awful kind of Stephen King style hospital show, haunted hospital that everybody involved in the creation of thinks is genius. But it's
very similar.
Yeah, right.
You're not wrong. Well, this is supposed to be an intentional throwback to like the B monster movies of the 50s, but it's just that. Like, it's not a throwback. It's just one of those crap movies from the 50s in color. Yeah. That's all it is. There's nothing new or exciting or innovative here. It's a real swamp. Kudos. The man was...
But that's 100% because it's cheaper to do that than make a swamp
Fair
on a
point,
soundstage.
yeah.
Am I right?
And there was a man who was 1,000% on fire, and I respect that.
That's true.
That man
but again,
he's dead.
He's
definitely
exactly.
dead. He breathed. They just covered him in kerosene, he breathed it all in, and he probably died a decade later.
Yeah. See, that's all the things you're enjoying about this are things that they only did because occupational health and safety laws were not as stringent as they are now.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, hey, we'll give you an extra $50 if you really set yourself on fire, and he's like, let's do this.
Let's do this. Anyway, you had a piece of trivia about the 2 releases.
Oh, so there's 2 versions of this. I think one goes maybe 2 minutes longer.
Yeah.
And that's because it's got nudity in it.
Yes.
And if I remember correctly, when they released it on home video, the box claimed that it was the 91-minute edited version.
Yeah.
But in real life, the version that was released to video was the 93-minute version with nudity in it.
And kids watched it.
Kids watched it. They sure did. Yeah, nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's bad. I wouldn't even say watch it as a gag.
It's a brisk 90 minutes.
No.
But it's not that
don't
brisk.
listen to him. It's not.
Okay, just
saying the wrong
fast forward
thing.
to 21 minutes because that's the karate chop to the neck.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. A point to make a note of that.
You probably want to see the pig monster, I guess, as well.
Yeah, so scrub to like 70 minutes maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Uh-huh.
At first, he looked like, because he's cocooned, he just looks like a big poo. And I'm like, is that what this is?
Yep.
I don't know, he's a pig monster. Is that
That'd be terrifying,
Is that
though,
better
right?
or worse? Oh, yeah, definitely. Anyway, this has been Caravan of Garbage. We do this every Tuesday, but there's also videos here on Sunday and Thursday. If you've got a suggestion for something to look at, it could be a comic book, a TV show, a movie, whatever. We'll take a look.
What if it's 72 episodes of the Swamp Thing TV series? We'll watch every episode.
No, we absolutely will. Look, I tell you what, if Swamp Thing comes back, we'll dabble.
How about this? If Swamp Thing comes back, we'll do that. I think that the second one is quite campy and funny, so maybe we skip that one.
Okay.
Then we go straight to the series.
Great, I can't wait. I really can't.
We go to the series finale of the TV show.
Also, we have a podcast called The Weekly Planet where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. That comes out every Monday. Swing by if you want. We do the news of the week. We do a topic. It all happens there.
You know it.
I do know it. I'm at Mr. Sunday Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Wikipedia Brown on Twitter.
We'll see you guys next time.
On the videos that James does.
Watch Swamp Thing, but not the other thing.
Grab that gem, you guys. We will see you next week.
The series I meant. You know what I meant.
Yeah.
Watch the TV show.
Yep.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates.
I mean, if you want. It's up to you.